Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the BCP Licensing Subcommittee. First item on this morning's agenda is the election of chair. I seek nominations, please, members.
I nominate Councillor Flagg.
Thank you, Councillor Hilliard.
I'm very happy to second that nomination.
Thank you, Councillor Pankhurst. Housekeeping, please.
Housekeeping. Please note that this meeting is being recorded for the Council for live broadcast and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. The meeting may also be recorded or streamed for live or subsequent broadcast by members of the public, although ultimate discretion in this matter lies with the chair in case of disruption. For those in the room, please note that if the fire alarm sounds, please exit the building by way of the nearest available signed fire exit route and make your way to the assembly point at the War Memorial in the gardens opposite the front of the building in Bourne Avenue. Finally, please ensure background noise is kept to a minimum and mobile phones and other devices are turned off or switched to silent for the duration of the meeting. For those in the room, this includes turning off microphones and turning the volume down completely on your laptops. And there are no apologies.
Thank you. Item 3, declarations of interest. Members, do we have any declarations of interest with regards to any business items on this morning's agenda? Thank you. Item 4, protocol for public speaking at hearings. A protocol for public speaking at meetings of the Licensing Subcommittee is included with the agenda sheet for noting. Item 5, application for Savers, 41 Old Christchurch Road, Bournemouth, BH1 1DS. I will now ask each participant to introduce themselves and state their role. I'm Councillor David Flagg, elected chairman for this meeting.
I'm Councillor Paul Hilliard, Councillor for Muddyford, Stampit and West Highcliffe, member of the subcommittee.
Hello, I'm Councillor Emily Pankhurst. I am a councillor for Parkstone and also a member of this subcommittee this morning.
We're also joined by Councillor Dwayne Farr this morning as one of our reserve members. Councillor Farr is not required to participate in the hearing. However, he may remain for the purposes of observing for training, but he will not take part in any of the hearing or deliberations. BCP Council, please.
Good morning, Tanya Jardine, Licensing Officer.
Christiane Tan, Clerk of the Subcommittee.
Good morning, and I'm Linda Cole, Legal Advisor to the Subcommittee today.
And for the applicant, please.
Hopefully the mic works. I'm Mike Morgan, the Regional Manager for the South West Region in Savers, and
Lizzie Mooney, Area Manager.
Thank you. And objecting, please.
I'm Michael Labidi, the Town Councillor and Vice Chair of Licensing and Planning.
Thank you. Before I run through the procedure, please may I check that all persons who have given notice of their intention to speak have been identified, and any person who wishes to withdraw a representation or wishes not to speak has been identified. If there are no comments, I will take this as correct. I will now explain the proposed procedure and order of speaking for the hearing as follows. The licensing officer presents the report. Questions of the licensing officer by all parties, members of the subcommittee, to go first. The applicant will make their application. Questions of the applicant by all parties, members of the subcommittee, to go first. Objectors will make their representations. Questions of the persons objecting by all parties, members of the subcommittee, to go first. All parties will be given an opportunity to sum up, with the party who spoke last to go first. The hearing will then conclude. The subcommittee will deliberate in private with the legal advisor and clerk present. Notification of the subcommittee's decision will be given within the period of 5 working days, beginning with the day or the last day on which the hearing was held. The notification of decision will include information about the right of appeal as appropriate. I will now ask all parties to confirm agreement on the proposed procedure. Tanya, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, agreed.
Linda?
Agreed, Chair.
Mike Morgan.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. And Councillor Michael Labidi.
Yes, agreed.
Thank you. Please may I remind all parties speaking not to repeat the information which they have already given in writing, but to expand on their written representations. All questions to be asked through the chair, and there will be no cross-examination of parties. I will now ask the licensing officer to introduce the report, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So before members today is an application for a new premises licence made under Section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003. The application was submitted by Savers Health and Beauty Limited on the 16th of June 2026. The applicant is seeking authorisation for the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Sundays. The application has attracted one representation from Bournemouth Town Council. The representation is made on the grounds of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. The Town Council raises concerns regarding existing issues within the Bournemouth Town Centre relating to alcohol-related antisocial behaviour, street drinking and public nuisance, and considers that the grant of a further off licence of sales alcohol outlet could potentially exacerbate these issues. No representations have been received from any responsible authorities or any other interested party. Members are asked to consider whether to grant the application. Should the licence be granted and the premises fail to operate in accordance with the licence and its conditions, any responsible authority or other person may request a review of the licence at any time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Tanya. Do members have any questions for the officer at all? Councillor Pankhurst.
Thank you, Chair. Tanya, would you happen to know, within the close vicinity of Savers, what other, if there are other shops that have already been licensed for off sales, do you have a number for us or can give us a bit of an understanding?
Sorry, yes. Yes, I do have, not within the exact vicinity. So you have Tesco down the road, and then as you go up towards Horseshoe Common, there is another 3. And then past Horseshoe Common, you have another 5. They're a bit further up, but just looking at Old Christchurch, this is within Old Christchurch Road, but within the vicinity, not close. You have 3 in between the premises and Horseshoe Common, and then Tesco down at the bottom.
Thank you. And just thinking about the hours of operation, thinking about some of those premises you've just mentioned there, are they comparable with their times? Or I feel like somewhere like Tesco's obviously is going to be quite a lot later.
So yeah, like Tesco is 8 to 11. All the others, apart from one. So if I go for the closest one rather than the ones above the, so 8 to 11 is one of them, 12 to 10, 7 till midnight. That's the latest, is the one that's 7 to midnight, and one is 11. So 11 p.m. seems to be the norm. I've got 2 that close at 11, 1 that close at 10 and 1 at midnight.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple. So talking about the hours. So the hours on the application of store opening differ to what is on the website. Does that...
On the website?
Of the store website?
No, so the licensing hours, so you've got the opening hours is what they propose under the license, but they can open any time. It's whatever time the licensable activities are taking place. So even if they were open later, we can't really control how the opening hours as such. I think that was under planning, but they would not be able to, if they were granted a license, they would not be able to supply the alcohol other than the times that are stipulated under the license. So it's like with any other premises, they might be open 24 hours a day, but they might have a restriction of selling certain items during only those exact times.
Okay, and thank you for that. And obviously we haven't had any representation from either the council or the police or any other parties, but in your general discussions, has the store been mentioned or any Saver store? Thank you.
So this particular store, we did initially, the ASB team did initially submit a holding representation whilst they were making their inquiries, but they subsequently withdrew that representation, and this is the only one that stood. So unless they stand, we don't normally.
And did they
take them
provide any information of why they withdrew?
Not any
or-
information that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for the officer at all, Mike?
Not so much a question, but just to give you some clarity around the opening hours, probably. I think it's quite standard on applications to sort of do a set kind of 7 till 8 a.m. Our trading hours in the store, as you're right, you mentioned, 8:30 till 7 is what we trade, kind of Monday to Saturday, and 10:05 on a Sunday. We wouldn't be looking to open earlier than 8:30, and only by exception would open past 7 p.m, potentially around sort of Christmas and sort of a couple of weeks. So just to give you a little bit of context around the opening hours, I think it's pretty standard on application to go quite long, and then but we wouldn't be looking to extend the hours past what we currently do.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Councillor, do you have any questions for the officer at all?
No questions at the moment. I think it's just our main concern with regards to being off license sale, but that's
But
really
you'll have your
that's fine.
chance
Yeah.
to speak. Okay, right. Moving on then, would you like to address the committee with regards to your application, please?
Okay, Brill, thanks, Chair. So I've got a little statement that I'll read. I promise you it's not too long. So good morning to the Chair and members of the subcommittee. So as I've mentioned, I'm Mike Morgan, the Regional Manager for Savers, and obviously the store in question. I'm supported by my area manager, Lizzie, who does cover the area this store obviously resides in. I'd like to reassure the committee that Savers is a well-established national retailer with significant experience in the responsible sale of alcohol. We've been selling alcohol since 2012, currently operating more than 320 licensed stores across the UK. Take our responsibilities under the Licensing Act very seriously and have robust systems, policies and staff training in place to ensure alcohol is sold responsibly. The representation before you raises concerns about crime and disorder, public nuisance and the impact of alcohol-related issues already present within the Bournemouth Town Centre. We absolutely recognise those concerns. However, it's important to focus on the likely impact of this specific application and this specific operator. There is no evidence before the committee that Savers has caused problems of this nature elsewhere, nor any evidence that granting this application would add to the issues already experienced in the town centre. We are not a specialist alcohol retailer. Generally speaking, alcohol would constitute around 1% of our total store sales, so quite a small number. It is health and beauty household goods, where alcohol only forms a very small part of our offer. Customers visit Savers for everyday shopping, not as a destination for alcohol. And as you may be aware, we do currently stock alcohol in some quite local stores as well, in Poole, Boscombe and Parkstone, with no issues experienced in those stores. Importantly, Savers has several safeguards in place to promote the licensing objectives, such as all colleagues receive training on age-restricted sales, a refresher every 6 months, electronic till prompts for Challenge 25, mystery shopper exercises are undertaken by a company called Serve Legal, and our primary authority partnership framework is with Slough Borough Council. In addition, we do not stock any high-strength spirits over 37%, and if we were to do that, these would be kept behind the till and not available for self-service. These measures are specifically aimed at reducing the risk of products being attractive to street drinkers or contributing to antisocial behaviour. On a side note to that, we are happy to not include spirits as part of the application because, again, what I'm saying is 1% alcohol is an even smaller percentage of the spirits. We don't stock a particularly big range. The concerns raised in this representation are largely based on existing issues within the Bournemouth Town Centre generally. Whilst those issues are acknowledged, the Licensing Act requires a link between those concerns and the operation of the premises in question. We respectfully submit that no such evidence has been provided. I would like the committee to note that a representation initially submitted by the council's antisocial behaviour team was subsequently withdrawn. This could suggest that the responsible authority most directly concerned with antisocial behaviour was therefore satisfied that its concerns had been addressed and chose not to maintain an objection. So in conclusion, this application is for a responsible national retailer with a proven track record, extensive controls and strong compliance procedures. The application contains measures designed to promote the licensing objectives, and there is no evidence that granting this license would undermine those. So for those reasons, we respectfully ask the committee to grant the application. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Members, do you have any questions for the applicant at all? No. Councillor Hilliard.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Reading your application, you mentioned CCTV in the shop, and also you're talking about facial recognition in the shop. And I'm just wondering, on the mention of refusals, would you, have any of your other shops had the case to refuse someone and then use facial recognition to deter them coming back, or how do you see that working?
We don't. We're very early days into the facial recognition kind of stuff. I'm sure everyone's read a bit of that online. We've got a few stores where we're sort of trialing it, and it's used primarily around shoplifting, and generally only shoplifting offences, and that's through liaising with the police and our security manager. It's quite tightly controlled. The images that obviously then are uploaded have to be a confirmed incident of theft, and then very tightly controlled, as you can imagine. So no, that wouldn't be the plan on refusal alcohol.
Okay, thank you. And on the staffing and the training, obviously I imagine you have part-time Sunday, weekend workers, probably under 18, just to understand what the process for sales with those members of staff, and just generally about the sales of alcohol in practice. Thank you.
No, so presently we do employ members of the team who can be under 18. At present, we don't have anybody that is in the Bournemouth store, but it would be the duty manager, the PLH in store, who would then authorise the sale. So a member of staff under the age of 18 would have to ring, and the sale would have to be authorised by the responsible person in store. They receive the same training as everybody else under the age of 18, so the exact same training. So they're fully aware of the kind of what they need to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. You covered some of my questions actually, because I was going to ask about the strength of alcohol that you sell in store. You mentioned you don't sell spirits. Is that correct? Can I confirm?
Yeah, we have sold them in stores. We did a very small range behind the till when we first launched alcohol. It is in some of the alcohol stores and can obviously be put into the application, but I think in this application, I'll be happy to remove that part of it, and we wouldn't stock high strength spirits at all in the store behind the till or anywhere else, so it would just be the on shelf.
Thank you. And looking on the website, I can see lots of things are like sort of liqueurs or bottles of Prosecco, things like that. Do you ever sell single cans of beer or smaller quantities of alcohol?
No, the single cans, no. The only sort of single cans we do are low alcohol content kind of cocktail cans, so they're sort of 3-4%. Yeah, so and then mainly it's, rather than the numbers top of my head, but generally speaking, a lot of the sales come from bottles of wine. Yeah, and that's kind of probably, I would say, 60 to 70% of our range is large bottles of wine. Yeah.
I've got two more questions, if that's okay, Chair. One is just to understand a little bit more about where the alcohol is within the store. So you did mention as well in your statement that it's self-service, some of it. With regards to where the entrances are to the store and the cashier desk, could you help me understand where the alcohol is currently situated, and if there is anything that is kept behind the counter as well?
Yeah, sure. So nothing behind the counter. All right, as we've discussed, that would only really be the spirits. Yeah. As we walk in, obviously, this is the front of the store here, the doors here, the alcohol tills are just across the front here, across the front of the windows. The alcohol would be next to the tills here, within direct sight, probably within 5 meters of the till, I would suggest. Yeah, well, we're saying 7 now, right? But it's very close to the till. You know, we'd be covered under CCTV. Because that's one of our kind of rules, and always within view of the checkout, really. So if I'm honest, it's in almost all of our stores, that's where it is, right next to the till, because we see it as an additional purchase as they come into the till with the rest of the shopping, rather than a destination to buy alcohol.
Thank you. And I have another question, if that's okay. So you mentioned some of the measures you've got in place, such as the Challenge 25 policy, things like that. Could you talk me through what your process would be for a staff member or the training provided if there's an inebriated person that comes into store, how they would deal with the situation of someone who maybe had already consumed some alcohol and was looking to purchase some more? What would that look like?
Okay, well, this is covered as part of their training. Obviously, they would clearly refuse the alcohol sale if the person decided to attempt to buy alcohol. We do have a guard in Bournemouth as well in the store that operates 7 days a week, and will be part of that, obviously, that conversation. Yeah, the person on the till or the duty manager on the shop floor, whoever comes into first contact with the person, the training is basically there to get the member of management in store, and then to deal with that through kind of customer service, really, with the support of the guard, the store net radio, and then the police if required. Yeah, but absolutely wouldn't be serving them if they were inebriated at the till. Yeah, and it would be a refusal, as it would be if it was a Challenge 25 with no ID.
Councillor Hilliard.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Morgan. That was useful to hear about the security guard. So just on that front, so are you also existing member of Shopwatch in Bournemouth, whatever that type of network is called? And is the security guard sort of on the border of your premises and the high street, as it were? So he would be able to look out, or they would be able to look out and see what is going on? Thank you.
Hi. So our security guard, he's at the door all day. He will obviously wander the store to ensure that we're safe, but from when he starts, he's on the door pretty much. So he will look after the team that way. And yes, they are part of the Shopwatch radio scheme.
I just have two questions following on from the question from Councillor Pankhurst with regards to the location of the alcohol. If we refer to your plan, which was submitted with the application, are you saying that the alcohol is directly in front of the checkout? It's marked up on the. That's not in accordance with this drawing that I have.
This is the entrance.
Yeah.
A low level queuing system, but it's the sort of the highest thing. So it's kind of on the wall, based on the left hand side.
Can I, sorry to be a pest, but would you be kind enough to come and show me on my map, please?
Please, look at this one.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's the
right, yeah. So entrance is here.
Yes.
Tills. These
Yeah.
are the fragrance cabinets, and there's a lower level here, so it's here.
So the alcohol's right over there next to the door.
And our doors here. That's like a bit of slap wall. That is where we hang some stock. There's no access here.
Right,
The only
okay.
inside and out is here, and this is the door to the back of our store, obviously warehouse. So it'll
Okay.
be these bays. These are like low level bays. They're about the same height as this.
Okay.
And they're sort of larger wall bays there. So there's fragrance cabinets, a little break, and then the alcohol's here.
Yeah, so that's slap wall. Okay.
Yeah, a bit slap
Yeah.
wall.
Thanks for that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So the till's here.
That was confusing looking at how it.
Yeah. So
The alcohol's here.
yeah. But that is not a doorway. It's
No.
it's slap wall.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And
And
this is low, so they can see over.
can you just confirm whether you have been in consultation with the local police alcohol team at all on your application? Did they get in touch with you?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you for that. Any questions at all from the objectors to the applicant at this stage? Right, we'll move on then to the objector, please. Thank you.
Hello, as mentioned before, I'm a town councillor and Vice Chair of Planning and Licensing. Before I begin, I'd also like to mention my own, bless you, my own interests. I myself have run bars and restaurants in the area. I'm not opposed to the sale of alcohol at all. I think actually bars, restaurants and clubs make Bournemouth a better place as a whole. But overall, there are concerns where it comes to off-license sales of alcohol. I and many of the others in the committee have a deep concern with what's already going on with Bournemouth, and this will exacerbate it. The overall licensing objectives of crime and disorder are there to prevent it, and I do think that this is only going to exacerbate that issue. It's hard to sort of prove something that hasn't sort of been put in place. We can't sort of retrospectively prove something, but what we can see is what's already in place. The businesses that are already there will already have to commit to many of the policies that have been mentioned, but it's very, very difficult to police something that's sort of outside of the store, if we're just being realistic about it. Ultimately, that's where our concerns land, and it's why we've brought this up specifically here today. But that's it. Thank you.
Do members have any questions for Councillor Labidi at all? Councillor Hilliard.
Thank you. Morning, Councillor. Just interested, obviously, I can understand where you're coming from. And yes, understand again, the committee's new and it's good that you're getting involved, but just understand about the prevention part. So have you engaged with the police and the BCP antisocial behaviour to see what measures are in place at the moment? Thank you.
Not specifically for this application, but we have had and are beginning to have more conversations with regards to antisocial behaviour within the town generally, and also sort of dealing with things like the empty shops problems and other problems that the council are trying to address.
Okay, and just to obviously to help the current applicants and any other applicants. So yes, we want the town vibrant. We want people coming to the town and the other towns. But what type of measures are you thinking could be adopted by new establishments and existing establishments to help about the prevention of crime and the antisocial behaviour, as you say, both on sales and off sales? Thank you.
Well, ultimately, the on sales, when it's in store and the consumption is in store, that's not really what's causing a lot of the antisocial behaviour in Bournemouth at all. Most of the bars and clubs and restaurants in Bournemouth, at least, are quite good at self-policing. Generally do quite a good job, and anyone who is causing a problem because of intoxication is generally moved along quite quickly. Obviously, there's already been mention of security, but the security itself would more be for in the store. There's no way that there can be security for the people who are going to buy alcohol to consume off of the premises. We already have people sitting outside of Tesco's, which has been mentioned, who will literally sit outside, beg for money, then go into Tesco's with that money. They're having, domestic disputes, they're harassing tourists, they're harassing local residents. This is already quite a serious problem. I'm not saying that Savers has any intention to cause this problem, but there's no doubt that it's going to add to a percentage of it. How big it is impossible to tell. But again, Tesco's has on-site security, but if we were to walk down there right now, we would see within about less than 3 meters of the door, there will be people sitting outside who are very heavily intoxicated, not just on alcohol, but on other substances. And already some of the stores which you have open, some of the food establishments, you have people who will sit outside and quite aggressively beg people as they go in. it's not necessarily someone like Greg's fault that people do that. There's probably not much that they can do. When you're just selling pastries or coffee, how much harm is that really causing? But when it is a specific sort of cheaper brand of alcohol, it's disproportionately going to impact those people, and it's going to disproportionately impact our residents. And as a town council, I do have a duty of care for them.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Pankhurst.
Thank you, Chair, and morning, Councillor. Thank you for coming today. Many of what you've said, I agree with. I've got 3 young children, and I've been in Bournemouth town centre and seen a lot of the behaviours that you've mentioned. Sort of building on what Councillor Hilliard was asking, what would you see, or you and your colleagues on the committee within the town council, how is it that premises like Savers and Tesco's and the others, what sort of measures would you like to see them put in place to ensure that they are responsible premises licence holders and could sell alcohol? Because like you've said, there is a place for that in Bournemouth town centre, I agree. What measures would you like to see so that's being done responsibly?
Well, this is where it gets a little bit difficult, because obviously if they have security, there's only so much that their own security, be it Savers, Tesco's or whoever else, can actually manage people in the general proximity. They don't own the lands that's straight outside of their building, so there's limitations to what they can really do to police that patch of land, as it were. It's really hard to say what tangibly can off licenses within the town centre do. I'm not too sure that there's that much more that they would physically be able to do. They already have security guards. They already take part in Challenge 25. They say that they do training to help people with not serve people with substance issues, but we know that they're being served, so that hasn't stopped that issue. It becomes very difficult as to where their hands are tied with regards to being able to sort of stop this. And I'm sure, much like Tesco's, 90% of the people who are buying alcohol, perfectly fine. They won't have any problems or adverse effects within the neighbourhood. But there's no doubt that it's adding to part of the problems that exist within the town centre.
Thank you. And just a final question, if that's okay. So thinking about Savers as a company who have 320 plus, we heard, licensed stores already. Do you, sort of looking across those stores nationally, do you have any concerns from your own research that have led you to believe that Savers are not, as a company as a whole, a responsible premises licence holder?
It's not really whether or not they're a responsible license holder as a whole. It's more the type of sale that they would be putting in place, as the fact that it's an off-license sale of alcohol. The existing ones would already be meeting the objectives, would be seen to be meeting the objectives, but in reality are leading to drunken and disorderly behaviour. There's already crime and disorder being caused. So I don't know about their other stores, but again, you have to look at where the specific location of some of those are. If they're on, say, a sort of shopping estate or an old sort of industrial estate that's been turned into a shopping estate, then you're going to have a very different crowd of people than you would, say, specifically in a town centre. It does seem that off-license sales in a town centre do seem to be causing a very different issue than if, say, it were in a more sort of suburban area of an off-license sale.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any questions at all for the objectors?
No further questions. They covered it in the statement. I think we're not immune to the fact that there are some issues in Bournemouth Town Centre. We're not silly to the fact. We do recognise that. I think I would just ask that just to focus on the impact of our specific application. And we are quite a small player in the alcohol field. I think we've got a lot of safeguards and measures and what have you in place. And we, as a business, obviously Savers haven't caused some of the problems that have been discussed here today, and I don't feel that there's any evidence that granting this application would add to the issues that potentially already being experienced in the town
Okay,
centre.
we're probably moving into summing up area there. I have no further questions for the objectors. So at this point, I think I'll move on to summing up. So is there anything else that you'd like to say to the committee with regards to your objection this morning at all?
No, I think we've covered everything. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think I just got ahead of myself
Okay.
and covered it right. So no, that's it for us. Thank you.
Can I just ask one final question? Can I ask what is the ratio between wines and beers and spirits that you actually intended to sell in the shop? Because you did offer up the point that you would withdraw the spirits, and I just wonder. So, in my mind, are you happy that the spirits stay behind the till, or is it something that the committee can consider with regards to reducing the problem, let's say?
Yeah, I think we're quite careful about where because spirits is part of the general application, right? It just goes in for the alcoholic application for every store. We're then very careful in considering whether we think it's right for the location, whether we've got the space as well, because behind the tills is quite tight, and we do need to give it a dedicated area that obviously can't be accessed by the customer. As part of the application, obviously, we do occasionally then say, look, we'll not, because to be honest, the sales of high strength spirits are incredibly low where we have got them in stores, and to be honest, not many stores have even got them now. Our range is very small. It's a couple of SKUs. The sales are very poor. We don't do branded stuff. There's no Smirnoff or anything. It's none of that sort of stuff. So I'd be happy to take it out of the application and not stock it in the store and just stock what we've got on shelf.
Okay, it's obviously something that the committee can consider. And I did notice on your website that the ABV of those spirits was quite low compared to what I would call high street spirits, wines and spirits. Okay. Appeal procedure.
Thank you, Chair. There will be a right of appeal to the decision that the subcommittee made this morning. The details of that will be set out in the decision letters that go out, but any appeal needs to be made to Dorset Magistrates Court within 21 days of formal notification of today's decision.
Thank you. And on that note, I will now close the meeting. Thank you for your attendance.